On the clock. A side piece that came from my article, 7 Again. While reading through the Mayan 7 cave myth, a picture caught my eye, and of course the reason for the cave myth, called Chamoztok, the place of 7 caves. They say it is where they believe humans emerged from, then going on to say that the caves are merely a representation of the human body and its orifices, and signifying the womb. And that may well be. But the picture made me think of another recent post I did, about cabbage patches. Yes, it's one of those types of articles, and a further speculation on the idea in A Train of Thought. Because that too mentions certain peoples emerging from caves, but in a whimsical, fictional setting of a strange cave in the Georgia mountains, which I have already speculated on being connected to the other Georgia mountains, which happen to be named the Caucasus Mountains. I likened it to the word Caucasian, and the wild idea that is where white people emerged from, and the tale has been twisted and rewritten, the names repurposed and scattered away from the source. Perhaps. But the fictional tale around the first one mentioned is that babies were grown in cabbage patches, then placed with the family they were meant to be with, or who purchased them, I guess. Strange that we have various tales like that, like the stork bringing them down from above, or that they grow in reeds, or can just be cultivated in gardening patches. I've also wondered about an alternative growth process for our species, in a fictional sense of course, in my short story, In the Mountain, and looked at what methods they talk of for the future of breeding in Pod Life and Pod Life 2. All quite disturbing and should be fiction, but isn't. There are many creation myths though that talk of different peoples or races emerging from the underground, of different species even appearing when needed as saviours and keeping people safe underground until the surface became habitable again. Now, if that were true and part of a cycle, it would explain why periodically people would come up from what appeared to be underground. And if there was a significant gap between going down there and those left at the surface who may have survived, could that be enough to consider them from underground? I have my theories about what may have gone on down there in my articles In the Old Underground and One Thing Leads to Another. And we do indeed have great empty and abandoned underground cities, and sites which appear to have had purpose, although evidence of people actually dwelling in them isn't so forthcoming, only the ideas around it. And there is a strange theory I have forming, of tying together all the other theories, how they could all work and be true at the same time. Flat and round Earth, the firmament, the ice wall, space, disasters set on a timer coming to pass when they are all meant to. It could all be part of the same mechanism, like a watch and all its component pieces, ticking around to the big moment where it resets the clock to start the process over. And maybe that's what happens to us, people, the world, and civilization. Each time there is a cataclysm, it gets reset, and it's a race against time to uncover the truth of what came before, find the clues in what was left behind after the last events, searching the skies, land, and seas for it. To find the source and stop what at first seems to be inevitable, or maybe not to stop it. Could be to try and harness it, or change it, feeding stories and a fabricated history to people, so they will never know the truth of how it came to be, and why it gets destroyed and reset every time. Because it was going to, whether people are here or not, whether they are bad or not, whether they know or not. It seems we are all bound by the same fate, even if that is just time and mortality chasing us down. But perhaps there really is something bigger working to a clock, and we just happen to be on it.